Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out We Are Doomed by Vertex Pop. Took me a little while to get around to it, sorry about that, but that's just the way these things go. That was the longest loading time the game has, that's actually pretty neat, but the rest of it, not that much. Also of note, why are Vita games so small recently? Look at that! 29 meg! 29 flippin' meg, but honestly at this point, the size of this game really doesn't help it. So we got options, a couple of obvious stuff, but you can also turn on whether or not to show a tutorial and whether or not to show the collect. I recommend leaving that on, despite the fact that it doesn't really seem to actually have any sort of effect later on into the game's levels, but we'll deal with that. So the game's got two modes. There's Waves mode and then there's Endless mode. Let's go to Waves mode first. We'll start from Wave 1. The game is a very, very simple twin-stick shooter. Move around with the left stick, fire at will with the right stick. That's pretty much it. Not even joking, like, that soundtrack is so obnoxious I had to remove my headphone. But yeah, this is basically all it is. Like, there are other things to it, it's not just that. Like, for example, those little blue square thingies, blue purpley square thingies that show up on the ground there are called trinkets. And when you pick up a trinket, it gets you closer to your next multiplier and it fills up your super beam. And your super beam, when fired off, makes your weapon a lot more powerful. And it also gives you a temporary shield. That's it. Like, I just explained every game mechanic in this game to you in a nutshell. And it really does get boring very quickly. Honestly, like, I'm only on wave 5. The Waves mode in this game has... God damn it. The Waves mode in this game has 30 waves. 30 levels? It's Waves mode, you idiot. It's got 30 waves and there's a checkpoint at every 10th wave, so you can start again at like wave 11, but obviously if you want to get the highest scores, you have to go from 1 to 30. That's just the way it works. And you have lives up in the top right corner there. And the way this game works, it's actually I actually really like the way the life system works in this game. Because when you lose a life, it just slows down the game a little bit, kills half the enemies around you, and just lets you right back into the game. No big deal, right? But what I don't like is the placement of the trinkets, because they're completely bloody random. You never know what enemy is going to drop a trinket, and when they do, you never know when it's going to put itself down, and they end up being in the most annoying of fucking places. So you've got just the random opportunity where it'll literally be behind a wall of enemies that you can't possibly extinguish before the trinket fades into oblivion. So you won't be able to pick it up. It's honestly quite infuriating. Also of note is that the game, well, I'll say this for its benefit, it's pretty. It is quite pretty, and for something that's contained entirely inside a package that's less than 30 megabytes is a lot more impressive than something I could do. Here's the downside though. The downside is that the game's got so many fucking visual effects and so many flares to it that you can't see half the time just what the fuck is going on. The majority of my deaths in this game are simply running into shit that I can't have possibly seen because of all these goddamn effects. Like, look at everything. There's so many effects, like, around my beam. There's so many effects around, I guess I could call it a ship, like, barring any other word to use for it. Every time an enemy dies, they explode in a flurry of color. Every time you collect one of those trinkets, they explode in a flurry of color. The trinkets just, like, beat in a... Yeah, see that? I was never going to be able to get to that without actually, like, running into something. The colors in this game just make it fucking impossible to see anything. So I can't actively avoid everything in the bloody game because I just can't bloody see it. That's a massive problem. Visibility in this game is just horrendous at the best of times. Especially when it comes to shit like this. You've got these damn things split in two directions and you've got so many effects because it lets out an effect every time one of these things die and then they split. And your eyes might be focused entirely on the fact that there's an effect and then it just like splits and you can't see the split until you've already been hit by something from it. Let's go to Endless mode. Endless mode works a little bit differently, but it's about the same thing, really. It really is just the same thing, except there isn't like a pause in between waves. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going and constantly spawning in new stuff. But yeah, so you can't see shit. That's a massive problem, and the majority of my deaths have been from that. And the combination of that and the trinkets spawning absolutely anywhere, which makes zero sense, because all of these trinkets spawning everywhere means that the way Geometry Wars does it, which is a bit weird citing another game's game design decisions, but, you know, I'll just cite it anyway. The way Geometry Wars did it just made you want to go and collect them, because every single time a geom got dropped in that game, it was because it fell out of an enemy, and it was consistent. So every time you shoot an enemy, you'd know a geom would fall out of it. And when a geom would fall out of an enemy, you would be able to just go over and grab it, but there'd always be that danger, because since you just killed an enemy on that spot, the chances of another enemy being there are pretty damn high, so you'd have to play a sort of risk versus reward situation. It feels so much more random and therefore so much more unsatisfying when the trinkets can turn up literally anywhere, and you can't see shit, so there's absolutely no chance of you being able to get through to that damn trinket without actually getting yourself killed in the process. Like, there's so many fucking things moving around there. It's just so frustrating trying to play We Are Doomed, because there's a decent base here, but it's just overshadowed by the fact that I can't see shit, and these trinkets are so random to be they're absolutely frustrating. There is another problem with this game, though. You've seen everything it has to offer, basically. There might be more enemies into the Waves mode and the Survival mode, because I've honestly only been playing this game for half an hour. I don't need to see any more to get a basic grip of what this game is. My first impressions have been fully and completely formed at this point. And my ultimate first impression is that the game is just tiny. Like, not in the sense of size, but in the sense of actual gameplay content. You've only got these two modes, and with Waves mode, you'll probably be done in an hour if you're actually any good at twin-stick shooter games. It's just a little bit disappointing, honestly, because when you compare this to a game like Geometry Wars, which, let's be fair, despite the fact that Geometry Wars is like 4 times bigger in terms of game size, it's still only 100 meg. It's got a massive campaign with 50-something levels in it that all have their own high scoreboards. It's got a bunch of extra campaign levels on the end that have even more high scoreboards. It's got 5 different classic, like, endless modes in there. And it's got co-op multiplayer. And it's only $5 more expensive, and I'm gonna have to use a Super Beam here, because Super Beams do shield temporarily. And yet, somehow, I still got hit by something. Fucking hell, I thought that was supposed to shield you for the whole duration of the goddamn beam, but I'd be amazed if you would be able to avoid hitting anything when you're in the Super Beam mode anyway, because it's just, because it's just, I didn't even see that coming. Come on. It's just, it's got zero content behind it after like 2 hours. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Spend a little more than a couple of hours with this and you'll have seen absolutely everything there is to see, and the game is just frustrating enough for me to say go buy Geometry Wars instead, because Geometry Wars will give you a much fairer and much more lengthy good time compared to this. That was my fault. But yeah, I've basically got nothing else. It's just, yeah. A surprisingly lightweight game that really needs to sort out its graphics, because, Jesus. With all this stuff here is just starting to hurt my eyes, so I'm just gonna put this crap down for a while. So, that was a quick look at We Are Doomed. I honestly can't recommend this game because it's just not good enough, honestly. It's not good enough. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.